Occupy Wall Street. Occupy Wall Street.
Wall Street.
Wall Street.
Obviously, I've heard of it. I've seen it on television.
Come down here to Occupy Wall Street to represent the 1%, see if I can have a dialogue with the other 99%, maybe see if we can find some common ground, and maybe I can help educate the people to direct their protests to the more appropriate source, because it's my opinion that they shouldn't be here occupying Wall Street. They should be in Washington occupying Pennsylvania Avenue. They should be protesting in front of the White House, in front of the Federal Reserve, in front of Congress, in front of the Supreme Court.
Did a government end slavery, or did the United States government end slavery? Did a corporation end slavery, or did the government do it?
Well,
did corporations?
What does slavery have to do with what we're talking about?
We're saying what there is a role for government in our society, and corporations cannot do everything.
But slavery was wrong to begin with, so let's not even. It was government that created. But government created. Wait, hold on. But government created slavery.
Okay, so you're saying that your argument is that corporations know better than the United States government or any government.
Well, first of all, corporations.
Let me finish. So what you're saying is we should disband the federal government, go back to a system before the federal government existed, where states had the rights to choose whatever laws they wanted, and then how do corporations play a role in that? Walmart?
Well,
does Walmart make policy?
Well, hold on.
First of all, and then our senators just go
First
home?
of all, I'm saying go back to the Constitution. I'm not saying go back to
Constitution
prior to
was
the.
written 200 years ago, and it's imperfect. That's why there has been amendments to it.
Well,
it was imperfect.
Well,
so they're called amendments to correct things that don't represent what's going on now.
Notwithstanding the amendments, the government is operating outside the principles of the Constitution. I want limited government, but you're
saying limited to how much? How much? Where does government have a role in the lives of 300 million people?
Government is there to protect property, life, liberty, and that's it.
Yes,
it's not there to redistribute wealth. It's not there. When you have government do that, it doesn't work. History is filled. Well, that's because of government. The market. I'm against the bailout. The government shouldn't have done that. That was unconstitutional. Yes, the government.
The imperfect.
No, the market would work well if the government stayed out.
Do you believe that old world governments should just shut down?
No, of course not.
A free market?
Of course not. But you mentioned Walmart. So what are you afraid that Walmart's going to do to you?
What am I afraid they're going to do to me?
What is Walmart doing?
You should go and ask the employees that are working in sweatshop type conditions that don't get enough hours, that don't have health care.
Wait a minute. Then why don't they quit? I mean, Walmart doesn't hold a gun to their head. If they can get a better job.
So why did the rape victim get raped? What was she doing out late at night?
They're not.
You know what I mean?
All right. So are you offering people better? Are you offering people better jobs in Walmart? If you think people in Walmart aren't getting a good deal, why don't you offer to hire them from?
So if the people at Walmart, if the board of directors at Walmart don't see fit to, if they want to hire 40,000 people and keep most of them on as part-time employees, just for the simple fact, excuse me, let me finish. That they don't want them to work more than 40 hours, so they don't have to bring them into their healthcare system, so then they don't have to pay for their healthcare costs.
But
is that right?
But the government
to do that?
The government.
Wait. If Walmart's not going to change it, and Walmart's going to keep up, and any corporation, not just Walmart, any corporation that doesn't give and protect its employees, that pays them a livable wage, if it's not government's purpose to do that, then who is going to step in and fill the void to make sure that 300 million people are represented properly? Who does that?
It's the government that is imposing these regulations that is causing Walmart to try to get around.
If the government isn't there to do it,
okay.
who is supposed to do that?
If you go back to, let's say, Henry Ford in Ford Motors Company, 100 years ago, before there were labor unions, before there was a minimum wage, before the average Ford worker was making twice what the Ford workers are making today.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, and you know what? There was a lot of other imperfections in the system. Do you want to go back to 1920, 1930? What is this golden year that Republicans want to go back to?
I don't want.
What year? The 60s? The 70s?
What year? I don't want to go back to that technology, but I want to go back to that level of freedom.
I want the level of
there was
freedom
more
for
freedom for everybody.
Women couldn't vote at some point. African Americans and others had to ride in the back of the bus. You want to go back there.
Look,
we don't want to go back.
I'm telling you, there's more economic freedom.
There was more economic freedom.
Yes,
but
a lot more.
Social freedom and social justice.
Well, what do you consider social justice?
High reparation payment right now.
There's
Reparation.
I want to know.
What?
The Japanese get
Hey,
reparation.
reparation? My grandparents weren't even in this country until like 1900. How am I going to get? Are you going to get reparations from me?
So you want to? Guys.
What you need is freedom and opportunity. That's your reparation. Do you shop at Walmart?
You don't want to.
No, I don't shop at
Where do you buy your clothes?
You want to talk?
I don't buy them at Walmart.
Where do you buy them?
I buy them at places that aren't perfect, and I buy them. But here's the thing: it doesn't. You can't just say.
But here's my question.
Listen, if you ever bought something from Walmart, then your argument just goes out the window. If that's what you're trying to do.
But when you go shopping,
you know what I mean?
Do you try to buy clothes that are less expensive, or do you try to pay more for your clothes? I mean, do you look around for a bargain?
Just bought it. I mean,
but if there were two shirts, the same shirt, one was $20 and one was $50, which one would you buy?
Come on, what kind of a question is that?
Which one would you buy?
What kind of a question is
it? Just give me an answer.
Whichever one I prefer.
No, they're identical. They're the same shirt.
Exactly identical. Yes. I'll buy the one for $20.
Okay.
I'll buy the one
but
for $20.
What if the guy that made the one for $20 was paying his workers less? What if the guy that was charging $50 was paying more money?
Now all of the buts and ifs
but my point is, are you going to pay more money to the guy that pays higher wages?
If it meant that at least 30% of the iPhone was manufactured here by American workers, I would pay more for it. I would pay more for it. How is it possible that Apple has more money on the books than the United States federal government?
It's easy.
No, let me finish. You know how it's possible? It's a rhetorical question. Because Republicans and the business class that are in our politics saw fit to give tax breaks to all corporations and the wealthiest people so that they can starve the federal government of its taxation. You have a system. We have a system where there's corporations that have more money than the United States federal government.
Well, that's not even close.
Sounds preposterous.
But
it's true.
But
now let me ask you a question. Is it okay? There's been memorials for Steve Jobs all over the place, at every Apple store. There's reporters that are all around the world that never asked one single question to Steve Jobs when he was alive. Why are you manufacturing your iPhone in China and you don't have any of your manufacturing here in the United States?
And I'll tell you why. Because
do you think that's fair to the American people?
Wait, the American people don't own those jobs. Steve Jobs has a right to manufacture where he wants.
He does have a right to do it.
And the problem is, we have made it too expensive for him to manufacture here.
We did.
The government.
The American workers want too much?
No,
because
the
we
government
want
put too
much
much.
Oh, it's the government's fault.
Remember, the reason that employers want to lower wages is because their customers want low prices. Everybody wants low prices. You're all
so if want low prices,
everybody in this park wants low prices. You can't have low prices.
No, we don't. No, we don't.
Yes, you do.
We're not here. We're not here asking.
We don't want that. You want to pay more?
Wait a second, just to check. Is anybody out here protesting to get lower prices?
No. I'm saying you want higher prices. So you're in favor of, let's say, the cost of gasoline triple, the cost of food triple.
It's not going to triple. We don't manufacture gasoline here.
But
we manufacture goods here.
But given the cost that the government has built in, if these things were made here, they would cost a hell of a lot more money than they cost now.
So let's put all of the Americans out of work, right?
No.
So that's your justification for putting Americans out of work?
They're not going to be here. All the regulations you can't have.
The prices are going to go
There'd be no customers. There'd be no customers. Nobody would buy this stuff. It was too expensive.
What do you do?
I'm in the investment business.
Okay.
shelter, and education, not for profit.
What about it?
Water, food, shelter, and education should
Well,
not be for profit.
Well, that means you think education should be very expensive because everything that's done not for profit costs more. No, the profit is what
Not
keeps
with
it
the
cheap.
current structure.
Yes. Why do you think education
The
is so
current
expensive?
structure doesn't work.
Because the government is
Why is
involved.
education
Because
so
the
expensive?
government is involved.
Oh, it's the
The
government's
government has
fault. Why is
subsidized
everything
it.
the government's fault?
Profits-
in your eyes? Let me
profits
ask you
keep
one thing.
prices
Can
down.
you name one good thing that the government does for you aside from military spending or military intervention?
Pretty much no, I can't.
So you're a person
The
that
federal
believes,
government-
do you believe that the federal government has a right to exist and to govern the lives of
It
American
has the right
people?
to exist, but not in the form it exists today. It's operating
Do
outside
you
the
believe the
Constitution.
EPA should be disbanded?
I think it does a lot more harm than good.
Do you believe the
Yes.
FDA should be
Yeah,
disbanded?
I'd like to get rid of it.
What about the FDA?
Uh-huh.
The Board
A
of
lot of things.
the Board of Education?
I think we should.
What about the Board of Education?
I want to get rid of the
Okay.
entire federal Department of Education. Yes,
Then-
it is
then-
wasting our
right,
money,
then-
and it is running up
then,
the
sir-
cost of
then,
education.
Sir, what I've learned, no, let me finish. What I've learned over the years is to never argue with a fool. And
I'm
you,
not a
my
fool.
friend, are a fool.
Okay, so I'm
Thank you.
foolish, right?
You're
so I
foolish.
just stumbled into
You stumbled
all my
into
wealth.
it.
I run all these
How could
businesses.
how could you disband the EPA and the
Easy,
FDA and the
because I
Board of
understand.
Education?
Because
You're a
it's
fool.
not the Board
You're
of
an idiot.
Education. You're talking about the
No,
Department of
no,
Education.
no,
Wait,
no,
did I
don't
call
get
you an
crazy
idiot?
with
Did I call you an idiot?
No, you didn't.
All right, so I have a little bit more respect.